everyone, and thank you so much for being here today. This morning, I introduced articles of impeachment against Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. I am proud to have the support of almost 70 members of Congress already from all across the country. Secretary Noem has brought her reign of terror to the Chicagoland area, LA, New Orleans, Charlotte, Durham, and communities north to south to east to west.
Last night, the New York Times reported that a criminal investigation has been opened into Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve Board. Anyone with two eyes and half a brain knows exactly what this criminal probe represents: a brazen attempt by Donald Trump to cannibalize the Fed's independence. The allegations behind this probe are clearly bogus. This has nothing to do with building renovations, of all things. It has everything to do with Donald Trump weaponizing the DOJ into his attack dog.
Well, if he lied, knowingly lied to us in Congress, sure, he perjured himself. The incredible spending at the Federal Reserve. See, I'm one of those that Federal Reserve I think needs to go away. I think it's created in a back room with a bunch of wealthy old white dudes and to control things, and they've done a pretty dadgum job of doing it and wrecking things.
All Americans must stand with Jerome Powell and the independence of the Fed. The Trump administration has crossed the Rubicon. You can't just threaten with criminal investigation an independent agency head like Jerome Powell who's doing his job. By the way, the only reason he isn't lowering interest rates is because of Trump's irrational economic policy. It's Trump's blanket tariffs that have forced Jerome Powell's hand. He would have lowered interest rates months ago if Trump didn't jack up the price on food and rent and housing with irrational tariffs.
Ladies and gentlemen, the thought of the United States taking the position that we would take Greenland, an independent territory within the Kingdom of Denmark, is absurd. Somebody needs to tell the president that the people of Greenland, up until these current times, were actually very, very pro-American and very, very pro-American presence. We had as many as 17 military installations in Greenland at our height, and frankly, I bet that once we get through this tension that we have today, that they would be willing to accept us. So we've got the power projection capability in Greenland, and we haven't necessarily put a 75-year alliance in NATO and dissolving it in the mix. That's the smart, sustainable way to achieve the president's goal of securing the Arctic. The not smart, unachievable way is whoever told the president that this was a viable path.
I guess, where are you standing when it comes to the president saying that he wants to purchase Greenland, for instance? Do you think that there is a credible argument there or case that the president is making?
Oh, look, I think Greenland, there is some strategic importance to the United States. Second thing I would tell people is let the president cook. I think if we're going to look at his foreign policy decisions compared to those of, let's say, Joe Biden, or even those of Barack Obama, or even those of George W. Bush, his foreign policy decisions have actually been correct. They've actually put America in a stronger position, and I would let the Greenland situation play out and let the president essentially do his work with Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
We are traveling in a bipartisan and bicameral way to Copenhagen this weekend. I hope to tell our allies you can count on us, and we do not covet Greenland. It's very troubling what the president is doing in a zigzag fashion that is against an ally.
I don't think anybody is considering that. I mean, it's not been in any briefing I've been in, and I go to all of them. Okay, it's not. This is not a. I think this is a media narrative that's been created. I do. We've been very clear. I mean, the Article 1 branch is clear. There's no declaration of war pending for Greenland. It's not a thing.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like gangsterish sort of stuff. Very ridiculous approach to Greenland, very counterproductive and damaging, I think. It certainly undermines our relationship to NATO. They sort of were hinting that they might make a military move on Greenland, which of course would trigger Article 5. I don't know what he's thinking. We have all these treaties in place with Greenland already, where if we want military bases, we can do them. If we want minerals or whatever, we can work that out. I don't know why he thinks he's got to be, sort of the gangster approach to working this out with an ally like that. It's hard to know with him. He's so erratic and unpredictable, but we'll see. But I think he's getting good, frankly, bipartisan pushback on any kind of notion of military action in Greenland, even in Venezuela. I think a lot of people, the comments about boots on the ground and running the country, there were even Republicans that said that doesn't make sense to us. We don't want the country to get involved in that.
Major countries doing business. First, war powers could cover it. With the president, you never know. Who would have thought he'd start talking about military intervention in Iran after we talked about it in Venezuela and Colombia and Greenland? It just shows you what a bubble this president is in, so far away from what America and the American people want.
As people in the freest country on earth get dragged from their cars down the street by masked men. Watch as parents are pinned to the ground in the pickup line outside their kids' schools. Watch as Renee Nicole Good, a 37-year-old mother of 3, is killed in front of her wife.
Our ICE agents are following the law and running their operations according to training. Last night what we saw was 3 individuals weaponize shovels and brooms to attack an ICE officer that had to defend himself. So we're hopeful that we don't see that again, that these protesters and violent rioters will be held accountable for the actions that they're taking, and that our officers can do their work safely.
Trump is deploying ICE to our neighborhoods to terrorize our immigrant communities. His operations rely on brutal tactics, avoiding de-escalation and due process against U.S. citizens. Although the administration claims it's only targeting undocumented criminals who pose a threat, we know that is an outright lie.
Let's get to the core of the issue. You are not allowed to start your vehicle, drive your vehicle at a law enforcement official, whether it's your local cop, your local sheriff, state troopers, ICE officers, Border Patrol agents, FBI agents, Secret Service agents. You're not allowed to do that. If you use your vehicle as a weapon, they will draw their weapon and respond and defend themselves. That's what they're trained to do. Every law enforcement officer in the country is trained to do that. If the Democrats now think that that's cause for impeachment, then they are stupider than I thought they were yesterday.
Now, to me, that's not right. I mean, let a young person grow up and get to a point where they can make their own decision after the age of 18 and say, listen, I think that if I'm a woman, I think I'm a man, I'm gonna try to transition it. Hey, I'm fine with that. Because in this country, you do what you want to do, but you don't push it on everybody else. And that's what this is today.
That in this moment, in so many halls of power, it feels like people are debating whether or not transgender people exist, whether or not we deserve protections under our Constitution and our civil rights statutes. And today in the Supreme Court, we were able to remind the 9 justices that we do exist, that we deserve protections just like everybody else, and that there has been a history of discrimination against us that warrants the court to take a closer look at the type of government targeting that we've seen over and over again from states and now from the federal government.
We are here because we value fairness and safety in women's sports. We know what is at stake when states can't provide these protections to athletes, to their female athletes. I was a track and cross country athlete at Idaho State University. 5 times I lost to a male athlete who identifies as a woman.